You probably think your neighbors are harmless. Say hi when you feel like it, ignore them when you don't. But after this story, you might have to start asking yourself if there's anything unusual about the people living next door. The summer I turned 17, I learned that if they're doing something strange, you might be at risk. I'm Eric, and I live in a suburban neighborhood outside Fort Collins, Colorado. My street's one of those cul-de-sacs where nothing ever happens. That summer, my parents were both working extended shifts, my mom in healthcare, my dad in logistics. I was home alone most days, finishing up online summer classes, watching TV, taking care of our dog Toby. That's when Mr. Keller moved in 2 houses down. He didn't bring a moving truck. No welcome barbecue. Just showed up one Monday morning in an old green pickup and started moving boxes into his garage. Alone. He looked maybe late 50s. Graying beard, always wore a baseball cap, even indoors. Never said more than a polite nod, though I saw him talking with Mr. Landers, the HOA guy. My mom said she found his name on the community app. A little odd, sure, but harmless. Until he started building the shed. It was small, maybe 8 feet long, and barely tall enough to stand in. But he was out there every night, well past midnight. No lights, just inside. Then the smell started. It was faint at first, sour like something rotting. On windy nights, it wafted through my bedroom window. I figured it was fertilizer or trash at first, but it didn't go away. I told my parents. My dad said it was probably mulch. My mom sprayed some air freshener. But even Toby started acting strange. He used to run the fence line like a lunatic. Now he stood still, barking in the direction of Keller's shed. Ears up, tail stiff. Then I noticed Keller's routine. Every few nights he'd carry a large black trash bag from the shed, toss it into his truck, and drive off. 20 minutes later, he'd come back empty-handed. It wasn't just once. It became a pattern. Always after dark. I got curious. One night after he left, I took a long way around the block and crept through the alley. I crouched behind the garbage bins and peeked through the grime-covered shed window. Inside a folding table. Buckets, rubber gloves, bolt cutters, something under a tarp in the corner. I backed away, stomach churning. My hands were shaking, and for the first time in a long while, I locked my bedroom window before bed. I didn't tell my parents. What would I even say? Hey, I think our neighbor's storing something weird. Instead, I set up an old webcam in the guest room, pointing through the blinds toward Keller's yard. Low quality, but good enough. The first few nights, nothing. Then one night around 11:40 p.m. I saw him. Same hoodie, slow walk. He entered the shed. But then a second figure followed. Smaller. Slower. My breath caught. There wasn't supposed to be anyone else living there. They both went into the shed. For the next hour, no movement. Then Keller stepped out. Alone. I downloaded the footage and sent it to my friend Ryan. He helped sharpen the image. The second figure was blurry but clearly human. Maybe a teen. No reports of missing kids in the area. But I did find something, an archived article from Pueblo 2 years back. Man arrested for housing runaways in his basement. Charges dropped due to lack of evidence. Name Nathan Keller. Same guy. That night I saw him standing outside, not at the shed, in his front yard, facing our house, just standing there, watching. I told my parents everything. My mom freaked. My dad called the police. When they arrived, Keller was gone. Truck gone. House locked. Nothing illegal visible, no warrant, no search. So I waited until midnight and crept out with a flashlight and gloves. Jumped the fence. The shed was locked. I jimmied it open. The smell hit me like a slap. Inside, spotless. Buckets clean. Table empty. Except one thing, a torn notebook beneath the table. I grabbed it. Back home, I opened it. Notes, names, ages, brief descriptions. Some with dates, some crossed out. One read Ia, blonde, watches from guest window, aware that was me. I flipped back. One note dated 2 weeks prior, followed to Jim. Routine 5 p.m. solo sessions. I felt like I'd swallowed ice. He hadn't just seen me. He'd studied me. The next morning, police returned with a warrant, but the shed had been torched overnight. Everything burned. All they found was a charred scrap of the notebook. Don't worry, we'll meet again. The move wasn't immediate. We stayed 3 more weeks. I barely slept. I was constantly jumping at shadows. My hands trembled unlocking doors. I found myself listening for engine sounds. One night, my dad said something that froze me. Mr. Keller told me once you were real disciplined, always headed to the gym like clockwork. That's rare for a kid. He said it with pride. I barely reacted. I just nodded and excused myself. He'd been watching me far longer than I knew. We finally left the neighborhood. But fear isn't something you pack in boxes. Last week, I walked across the student lot after class. My gut turned. I looked back. A green pickup across the street. Same dents. Same color. The moment I saw it, my heart stuttered like it forgot how to beat. Then, as if it had never been there, the truck pulled away. I stood frozen, wondering if it had really been him, or just an awful coincidence. The next day, I came home to a fresh gouge in our mailbox, like someone scraped it with a key. I checked the cameras. Nothing. I didn't tell my parents, but I told Ryan. He sent me something from a missing persons forum. A photo album found in a storage unit. Group shots of teens at a fair. One kid looked like the figure from my footage. The caption under that photo said the boy disappeared 3 years ago. No leads. Lived in a different part of the state. I contacted the original poster. They didn't respond. But a week later, the listing vanished. And a new user posted something eerily similar. Different town. Same kind of shed. Same green truck. Maybe I wasn't just watched. Maybe I was just next in line.